Today on the Mile High Sports Symposium, we're going to get a World Cup update. The Avs made a trade, and the Nuggets are in trade rumors. And we've got a little bit of Broncos update, so stick with us, and we will be right back.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for on gameplay. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Puffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Chris and JT, they got the scoop. Give Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Mile High Sports Symposium. I am your host, JT Matthews, along with my co-hosts, Chris Whitwright and the Dr. Nicholas Manning. Boys, happy Wednesday. We're back talking sports. Nick, you got some Nuggets wrapped. Chris has got Chris has got the Nuggets wrapped. Nick has got the Rockies wrapped, and I'm repping beer. So we got the Holy Triumvirate.
Hey, you need one to get through the letdowns of the other.
100%.
That's right. In the Pepsi Center this year. How we doing? How we feeling? Everyone good on this Wednesday? Chris, how you doing today?
Good, man. It's hot outside. It is hot. I was telling Nick earlier that my youngest has experienced her first sunburn.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to her that this is what happens when you say that you put sunscreen on and then go play for an hour and a half and don't actually put it on. So that whole choice
is always watching.
Right.
I don't know if I told last year my kids, they all got like sunburns for the first time. And it was like hilarious. Like it just like I have some melanin, and so they have been fortunate. But it was like, man, like they couldn't do anything, like unless it was something they want to do, then they figure it out for a minute, and they're like, oh. I was like, stop. There's people with like blisters, like they're lobstered up, like no, this ain't it. We're not doing that. Get up and go over there. Like you guys are fine.
Appreciate you, Clayton. We see you.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a little solo positive here, just because he deserves it. So my son Braun won districts, first place at districts.
All right.
Mondo tournament this weekend. It's huge because he is challenging experiences with overstimulation and like team sports and all that stuff. And he there was a moment that he almost lost it because Dad messed up. I messed up the music because I was trying to record the video. It hit play on the boombox. The boombox wouldn't hit play, and he got frazzled because they started his clock. He forgets like his form is like 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and he had 2 minutes to do it, so he has plenty of time. He would have plenty of time, but he gets frazzled. Goes to like do the best form I've ever seen him do. And then he had second place in that competition part, and then does it again for a different one. And by far, like the best I've ever seen it. Like Chris, like where did it come from, man? And like legitimate, like beat 4 other kids who had qualified for districts with that. And like, it was just some other kids, like sports has been easier for them. And for him, it has not been. And so I had never helped him. I don't know how to help him with his it's swords and stuff. Like he's doing some stuff that I wouldn't mess around with. And so it was super dope. And so that's carried me through, especially because he's being all of 13 this week.
Yeah.
And he's finding out that Dad has conduct disorder. And so it's not a good match. It's not a good match when you start tugging on Superman's cape. But I'm holding on to like that, like just it was like the happiest dad proud I've been for like a long time. And so that was just super dope. So shout out to Braylon for hanging in there and really achieving something that he can be really proud of. So that was cool. It was a cool dad thing.
Very
cool.
That's
why we do it. That's why we do it.
That is very cool. It's I know that's like right up his alley too. The competition that he's in. He's a weapons guy and he enjoys learning. I heard Stephanie, or your wife, was telling me that he's been doing tutoring on the side or getting one-on-one lessons on the side, which is awesome. It seems like that's really
we found like this high school mentor who's just like his name's Remy. He's a great kid, and they match on. He's taken off a bit, and it was just cool for him to like see some success in a thing that he really like loves to do, and that he gets recognition for it. He's representing their school, and to be like a district champ on there when he's kind of been the pain in the butt a lot. Like how many times I got to met with them about like, we got to take direction from kids you don't like because they're higher ranked. Like, I get it. Yep. All things, all the tiers, all the stuff, but he's stuck it out. He's going for a second degree on the 27th of this month. So he's found his own path a little bit, and he's carving it out. And so
cool.
Just it's like all of us parents, like sometimes we just don't know. Like, man, I just hope my kid like finds something. And it's just like keep believing them and hanging in there, and they'll figure it out. It'll happen. And so it was good. It was super dope. So
very cool.
Yeah. Now I remind him when he's like, I'm not an athlete like the other. Like, yes, you are an athlete. You don't play team sports. Total different. So I was like, I'm never letting you out of that. And then when he won that, I was like, that was an athletic activity, bro. You're doing like spins and stuff. Like I'd throw out my back doing half that crap. Like, stop it. Don't tell me you're not an athlete. You just don't like playing team sports necessarily. I was like, so we're not going backwards on that. So I get to rub it in now. Like, see, told you you're an athlete. Dad don't make no stiffs.
No, that's
but
awesome.
For people that get paid and stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Probably go in the pro circuits.
Yeah.
Do we want to start with the World Cup?
Yep.
You sure? You want to start there? You want to start with the Rockies having a wonderful bounce back out in Chicago? Cole Carrig, just TJ Rumfield, Rookie of the Year. Hunter Goodman, best catcher in baseball. But that's probably all I got right there. So we can go ahead and go now. Go ahead. Let's go work on it.
Excellent. Well, we're happy the Rockies are showing signs of life.
That's all I ask.
If you have been living under a rock, you should know the World Cup is going on right now. And three nations
And where is it going on at?
It is going on in Canada, Mexico, and your United States, if you're in the United States. So that's very interesting that the United States is hosting along with Canada and Mexico. Again, Team USA started off real strong, 4-1 win against Paraguay on Friday. They're going to play Australia next this coming Friday, so that's super nice to see them get off to a strong start. They're supposed to win their group, so that'll be interesting and awesome. Two changes that the World Cup has gone through this year.
Really quick, when was the last time that they won their group? Like 02 or something?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, it's been 02 or 06, one of the two.
I mean, okay.
It's been a minute. So
been
a minute. So that's very cool. But a couple changes that the World Cup has gone through this year is they are including more teams. It's now 48 teams instead of 32 teams, which means more countries are represented in the World Cup, which makes for some very cool storylines. Spain, who is the favorite to win the entire tournament, tied Cabo Verde, which is the third smallest country to ever participate in the World Cup. It is a small island off of Africa, and they tied. Again, it was 0-0. Not super interesting game, but a very cool moment for that country. So, Portugal and Congo tied today, 1-1. Again, first goal ever for Congo in the World Cup. First time they didn't lose in the World Cup. So, again, a very cool moment for that country. Jay, you are 1,000% right. Lionel Messi, the GOAT, had a hat trick for the first time in World Cup competition. So at 35 years old, still putting it down. It was amazing last night to watch him play. He's amazing. The second change that is important for the World Cup is these hydration breaks. So they've introduced hydration breaks for player safety. So when people get too hot, they can have a water break and also go talk to their coaches and kind of reform how they're going to do their strategies. Do not let anybody fool you. These hydration breaks are commercial breaks that they needed to put in for FIFA. Like FIFA would play these players on the sun if it would give them a fun. It totally would. So again, but the interesting thing coming out of the hydration breaks is the fact that they are now the early analytics of this is if your team has some momentum going into the hydration break, completely flips out of the hydration break. It's pretty interesting. So I'm going to be kind of watching that and monitoring to see if that is a continuing trend. But again, World Cup, they're in the group stages. A lot of great soccer being played. So go watch if you can.
Australia got a nice upset or a surprising win. I don't remember who they were playing, but I remember that one being a surprise.
Which one?
Australia winning.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few like you said that tie against Spain.
Yep.
Was a huge upset.
Sweden punched the crap out of Tunisia so hard that they fired their coach in the middle of the tournament, which I thought was crazy, but here we are. So yeah, it's been a lot of great soccer. Like again, it was a very cool moment in the Germany-Curacao game. Curacao scores their first goal ever in a World Cup, but the problem is that they allowed 7. So
yeah, it was rough.
So still cool moment for the country, but again, 7-1 defeat.
You know what?
It happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
I mean, it does. It does, apparently.
Yeah. Germany put it on for sure.
They did.
There's it's been fun. I've been keeping an eye on it. I haven't been able to watch too many games. I did watch I didn't get to watch all the USA game, but I caught the highlights, was tracking it on my phone. It's a fun time of year, man. Especially it is nice when you're the host country. We actually get to watch most of the games if we want to.
Yep.
As opposed to, I think Qatar a couple years ago.
Qatar. Yep.
Yep. And then, Olympics was in Europe also. So it was just like crazy times a day. So now it's kind of nice. 1 p.m. you can kind of count on the first game going down and then going from there. And it's been always nice to have a distraction during the summer too, because as we kind of talked about before this, the Rockies haven't necessarily held everyone's attention during that time and got us through the downtime.
And unfortunately, the Nuggets and Avs seasons went awry, so they had an early off season, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of, you want to go talk about the Avs trade?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's do it. So the Avs traded Ross Colton to the Nashville Predators for some draft picks, and also there was a goalie swap in there. I'm not sure why, but perfect. So they free up like $4 million in cap space, which is great. Yep. But yeah, there was a goalie swap in there. I don't know anything about the goalies. So
yeah, me neither. They're both prospects. Sometimes guys just need a change of scenery, and I think that's probably the case here. Get under different development, see if they fit your system better. But yeah, two third-round draft picks, I think.
One this year, one next year.
Yeah.
Colton reunites with Chris MacFarland, who's now the new Nashville GM. Yes,
that is true.
Yeah, that's an interesting first deal. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, go get it.
I wonder if that was like a friendship. That was a friend helping friend deal, or was that was that made in some attitude? But the goalie coming back, I just recognized the name because he played at DU. And so, former Pioneer. And so I don't know. I mean, it's been a hell of a program there. So feel like maybe that leads to a little something. We shall see. But a cool part of the story. He is 6'6", 225.
Ooh.
Magnus Trona. Sharona. How do you fit with skates? What is he? 6'8"?
Yeah.
That's a lot of human. So I don't even know how that works in goalie. Anyway, but I don't know if he's good though. But that wasn't really the point. The point was get a couple draft picks. You get a third. You get your original third back, and $4 million in cap space, which in hockey goes a long way. I mean, that's for Brent Burns, that's some quality players and or space, because Cale Makar is going to cost you a lot of money.
Yep.
Sometime soon. So you got to get in where you fit in.
It is disappointing that I liked what Ross Colton brought to the third line, and kind of a grittier player that I thought was good. I thought he was, again, a contributor. Maybe not worth the $4 million, but certainly, it brought a difference or a different style towards those lines. So he will be missed, but onward and upward.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I like Ross Colton. I think that I was trying to think the other day. I should have looked it up, but there was another young guy that they were like, if he could just take one or two more steps, he could be, a third line, second line guy. And I just kept waiting for him to score, to get on a roll, and it just never quite happened. That's kind of how I felt with Ross Colton too. Like, I don't know if the system, it seems like the system would suit him. He's fast. He's pretty physical, but for whatever reason, he just never quite established himself. Maybe, I'm guessing in Nashville, he'd get more opportunity to do that. So it may be a mutual parting of ways for both. Like, he wants more opportunity to, play up on the second line or third line and have consistent minutes. And it's a chance for us to kind of get rid of some salary. So I think that, and pick up some draft picks, Avs are always in the trade market. So the more picks you have to deal, the better. I think it's a good trade probably for both sides. I'm biased and think it's a little bit better for the Avs for where they're at. But, I think bringing a guy that you're familiar with for Chris MacFarland, just kind of having a comfort level with the guy is always kind of a nice move for both of them. So best of luck to them. Obviously we hope that they are under the Avs at all times, but other than that, hopefully they are successful. Want to transition to the Nuggets trade rumors?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. So I don't know where we want to start. I think probably the biggest thing is, I think we touched on it last week, but Mark Stein reported that of all the veterans, quote unquote, on the Nuggets, that Aaron Gordon is getting the most trade buzz or excitement from other teams. How we feel about that? I mean, obviously, we all love Aaron Gordon. I don't think it's a question about whether we like the guy, whether he's been a great Nugget. But as far as him being kind of the top, trade interest candidate versus Jamal, something like that, do you think it's more due to a contract? Do you think it's more due to the player? Interested to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I think Aaron Gordon obviously, I think, has a little bit more trade value than Christian Braun, because Christian Braun was not very good last year, and also Aaron Gordon makes less than Christian Braun at the moment. So I get the appeal. I would hate to see him go, because I just think I think he and Jokić just vibe a lot better than a lot of these other players. Like, I will admit that I am a Jamal Murray hater. I've never really I think he's good for what he is, but he got paid like he's something better than he is, unfortunately. So, and I was texting you guys last night. I think he's kind of the albatross, unfortunately, around the neck of the Nuggets, because, for $50 million, he's got to be, you got to have more than a fringe level all-star. So, so I would not be, I think that's the chip that has to fall in order for us to get a whole lot of movement. But I'm sure Mark Stein is right that Christian Braun and Aaron Gordon are getting more interest because they're just more movable pieces, frankly.
Yeah. What do you think, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Gordon is a former All-Star, right? We talked about he's been a 30 points a game scorer. We saw when healthy and Nikola was out, there's games where he pretty effortlessly too, right? Like, he's not a guy that's yakking up stuff, so he's efficient. He's been an elite defender in this league when Christian Braun has been a potential elite defender, that you see that there, but Aaron Gordon's done on the biggest stage. And so, especially for a team that's probably trying to compete right now, I would rather take a swing on Aaron Gordon if I'm them. And like you said, Chris. He's going to make, so Aaron Gordon's going to make, starting next year, is going to make $31 million to Christian Braun's $21 million before his jumps up to like the 23, 25, 26, 28 of the next years.
Yep.
But just, in the end, it's the best player who can help you right now. It's interesting that I think Cam Johnson might be the most like valuable trade piece because of his expiring contract, and he can provide you good enough in all of the areas. So if you're a team trying to compete, if you're a young team trying to clear cap space for next year or the year after, it's a guy that can come in and model, I think, good basketball for a younger group. There's just not a lot of moves, I think, that they can. There's not a lot of desirable players on, Julian Strawther, I think, is more valuable to the Nuggets than he is anywhere else. Drawn Holmes has yet to, how he hasn't been trying to like cultivated to give you an idea on whether or not you need to trade Aaron Gordon yet is by far a question for us. And Jamal Murray is one of those where he's more valuable to you than he is other teams. And the risk of losing him while not being able to fill that void with a comparable player, you spend the money in hopes of, and so that's just where they're at. And Nikola Jokić being on the roster makes it hard he's going to be 31. There is 31. And so how do you sell to Nikola Jokić, who you're trying to get to sign another extension, that, hey, we can win a championship this year or next year? Can we? Can we? Can't do that if you're trading off vets who have won with Nikola Jokić. So I would hate to see Aaron Gordon go, but I am open for business on all of them, and I think in the end they have to do something different, and it might not be something I'm fond of, but shoot or shoot, and so we'll see if something sticks.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point that you make. That how do you convince Jokić to sign another extension when you're saying, okay, our window, the window with the team, I think, is closed. Unfortunately, I think with OKC being young and having more talent, and also they have better draft picks than we do this year, so they're going to reload again. They just have more pieces to move, and San Antonio just representing the West in the finals. I mean, I think that's a tough sell regardless. So you basically have to say, look, we're gonna have to make some tough choices, and you're gonna either have to deal with it or not. I mean, you cannot, if you run it back with this team, you are basically bashing your head against a brick wall, and you're just gonna make Jokić a year older, and that's the way you sell it to him. Look, if we run it back with this team, the likelihood of us winning is low. And all you're going to do is turn a year older, and that's not where you want to be. So it may suck. We may have to suck it up for a year and be terrible, or terrible meaning, maybe a 6, 7. I mean, we have one of the best players in the world, so I don't think we're going to be not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. So.
Yeah, the other thing that I think we want to talk about is it's been reported. I saw it on the DNVR Nuggets podcast, but I'm sure that they had quoted someone else, so I apologize for not knowing. But that the Nuggets seem to be interested in trading up in this year's draft. Kind of my takeaway is it seems like maybe a good way to try and dump salary. Maybe you're trying to get rid of Cam Johnson, someone like that, where you can get off of money this year. Someone might be interested in taking him, maybe absorbing a little more salary this year. You can move up a little bit in the draft, maybe get a guy back that isn't going to turn into cap space next year, but at least he lowers the cap availability this year. So that's kind of what I've been seeing mostly on it. Thoughts about that kind of strategy, or it seems a little strange to me that this team is looking to move up in the draft regardless. Maybe you're going to flip that guy later, something like that. But it is an interesting approach to this draft. I think. Doc, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's like a necessary evil, I guess. I mean, in the end, they have to get more athletic, and if you can't go get a contributor that really changes, I think, the outlook of your team in free agents, because I can't really go get anyone and bring them in. I think that's gonna be a needle pusher on this team. It's kind of the only other route to go. The question that I have for you guys is like, who? I mean, because how far can they realistically go? You know,
Right.
It's not jumping in the top 5 or 10 even probably. And so, who can they get that's immediately going to be in the 8-man rotation that can soak up minutes? Because again, they need another Peyton Watson like athlete. Like they got to get. Because I think you can make do with a Jamal and Jokić on the floor if you have Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson, and then another really solid athlete who can make up for some of the deficiencies, really from Jamal, less on Jokić, actually, probably more on Jamal, and size and stuff. You know, he's 6'4" on a lucky day. Like I'm 6 foot for sure. And so that to me again is like who. They've also done a pretty good job of scouting guys in the past, and especially kind of the European route. And so maybe I also, now that I look at it, I'm kind of a little angry about Daron Holmes and how we haven't really given him an opportunity to be a guy that can provide us those things.
Athletic
and
rim protector.
I mean, and a guy who, I mean, last year at Dayton, got his like 3-point percentage up to like 40%. I mean, he was a guy that
2 years ago.
Yeah.
But he was the guy that steadily made improvements and was the reason why his team was a force at all during the season and made it to the NCAA tournament. And so, and we moved up like he was the plan. Like that was the plan for backup big. And then it makes me mad looking in the NBA about how quick they get off of a guy. It's this win now mentality of some of that stuff. You got Zeke, who I thought he showed real well last year. But it's like why are we straddling ourselves with like 8 and 9? Valanciunas, like we couldn't figure out how to use him whatsoever, or playing to that strength after we thought we finally had a guy, And I'm even like, well, what? I don't even know if I trust if they go get someone that they would know how to deploy them. So now I've just like talked myself out of being excited that they would make a draft day move, because of what's on the line. Like, I think the best and worst thing that happened was that the Knicks won, because they were by far the least physically talented team out of the two, or probably even in a lot of the series that they played, even, which if you're a Nuggets fan, you can say, well, see, like you don't have to be all of that stuff. That said, they had 3 elite defenders on the floor at most times. And so not like good defenders, elite defenders, and guys who were committed to defending, so that you could have a small guard score 45 in a game, and so Jamal, and until the playoff run, has been as good as Jalen Brunson. Last year he was just as solid, but we didn't have those things. And so I don't think if you have some complementary pieces, and if you're going to draft one, how are you going to cultivate that piece? Like, how are you going to let the 22nd pick in the draft crack this group and get enough minutes so that by mid-season he is a full integral part of your team? I just don't know that. I just don't trust that they have a plan for that. And maybe they do. And maybe Adelman, it was a first year on the job. He was a young coach, period. Maybe all those things. Like maybe I would love to be wrong about it. He seems like a good dude and all this stuff. But it's just they haven't done it yet. The culture that they've had, front office after front office, like at what point, though, do you recognize what we didn't work? What do we do different, guys? So I don't even know. Do you have any faith that there's no shoe-ins that they would go get? And with that, would they even know what to do?
Right.
So A couple different thoughts, and I'm gonna just put this out there. But the first thought I have is Valanciunas. I wonder, he didn't want to be here in the first place. Like, there was that big fight last offseason about whether he was going to play in Greece or not. And I wonder if that carried over into the season where he really was like not super interested in being here. He really just wanted to go play in Greece. So I wonder if that's, addition by subtraction this offseason. So just
could have been.
Kind of
yeah. Or maybe he was sold in and then, you're not getting minutes in a couple games. You start bitching. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right. So, so that's the first thought I have. The second thought I have is at least you will have a GM and a coach that are allegedly on the same page that this is the guy. So maybe you won't have that Jerome Holmes issue where it's, Calvin Booth is like, hey, this is the guy. And Mike Malone's like, no, he's not. And I'm not super interested in you. And also you're stupid. So, again, aligning the organization, I think is going to be key for this next draft pick. I also heard that it's going to be Julian Strother is going to be in some sort of trade package to move up.
He has to.
Yeah, I mean he's really kind of the only. He and Cam Johnson are really the easiest pieces to move, unfortunately.
I mean, really, yeah. I mean,
but your point is well taken. I mean, if you're going up from 26 to 20, what does that buy us? And I don't know that it buys us a lot. I think JT and I were talking about kind of our dream scenarios in the trade up. In a trade up solution is that you go get, for me, it's for Yaxel Landenberg, who's the big out of Michigan, who can kind of shoot it. He can rebound. He's a little bit more offensively gifted and still play some defense from Michigan. So, but he's going to be in the top, 12. So if you're going, you've got to really go and not screw around. So those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have the luxury of time, unfortunately. Jokić just 31. It's a great, if you can get, a lottery guy and you think that he can be a future guy for you, that's great. But I don't know that does anything to move the needle at least the next 2 years. Then you're talking about Jokić at 33, 34, it'll be interesting to see how he holds up over time. I don't think we've seen a superstar like Jokić, who's not really an athletically gifted, quote unquote, basketball player. So does that mean that he'll decline slowly, or does that mean that his drop off will be more significant? I think, if you start with a little bit of athleticism and then you lose all of it, then where does that leave you? So I think it'll be something to keep an eye on. I don't think that we're out of Jokic's peak at all. But who knows how much longer you have, and you're gambling by, picking up youthful guys to develop. If they're not ready to go and can be for a championship, I would say this year, but next year at the very latest. What are we doing with this window of time? At this point, move up. I think you get off some salary, get Peyton Watson back in the building if you can. But then does that mean you're moving Cam Johnson? Does that mean you're moving AG? Who's going to be willing to take additional salary for a year or more if it's AG? It's a tough, like we've been talking about it. I threw together even some trades for Christian Braun and threw them in the chat, and it's just like, it's hard to find anything that you can get in return. I mean, you can get rid of that salary, but you're taking on, presumably either less talented players or, equal salary that you're not going to be able to move easily anyway. So, yeah.
I will say that the one deal that I was interested in was your Kings trade, where it was Christian Braun, Cam Johnson, and Deron Holmes going to the Kings for Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, and I was like, okay, you get off DeMar DeRozan's contract next year, and then the year after you get off Malik Monk's, which I thought was pretty interesting. And I think DeMar DeRozan can still play a little bit, so I don't think you're losing from a scoring standpoint, I don't think you're losing that much. So whether you're athletically gifted, defender, I don't know that he's that anymore. So, but I thought that was the only really one that was interesting, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that one was appealing. And I just, the Kings, you never know what they're going to do. They took back Dario Saric in a trade for Jonas Valanciunas.
But did that work out for us? I'm not 100% sure it did.
I mean, it wouldn't have worked. It would have been worse, I think, with Dario. At the very least. Maybe we would have had more, $5 million more in salary cap, but we'll see what happens with Jonas in the offseason. I think there's a chance that he still goes and plays for Greece.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
If he gets traded somewhere and he's not happy, he'll just go play in Greece. Throw him in a trade package and see what he decides to do. Or maybe that's part of the agreement. Like, oh yeah, we're going to trade you, but the other team is well aware that you're just going to go and they're going to get that salary back. So, there are things that they can do and levers they can pull.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm looking at the Kings. Like,
I know.
At least we're not the Kings. Yeah.
At least we're not. Yeah.
Zach
Exactly.
LaVine, 45 go to Sabonis.
Yeah.
25 to DeRozan. 25 to DeAndre Hunter. 25 to Keegan Murray. 20 to Malik Monk.
Yeah, 25 to Keegan Murray for 5 years too.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Let's not giggle too much. I mean, we're doing 25 to Christian Brown, and he was not very good last year. So
he was not very good last year, but we
do have a proof of concept of him being good.
54. We won 54 games though. At least right. At least there's some at least. So I'm like, I've seen you be good before.
We have a proof of concept.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. That was just I couldn't hold it anymore.
No, it's all good. And for what it's worth, Valanciunas is still on a $10 million contract this year. But honestly, I wonder if you just cut him, what happens? Like,
I think if he falls off your roster to go play in Greece, I don't think you have to honor that.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway,
because he's not playing league. Anyway, yeah, digression.
So
yeah.
Do we want to talk about the Orlando Magic deal that was floated?
Yeah, I mean that one seems to be. I mean that seemed to be the one that had the legs the most. And that was because was that because of the Mark Cuban tweet, or was that a different one?
No,
that's a different one.
That was Dallas. That was Jamal. But
Jamal
apparently that was due to I figured, or it sounds like maybe he was because De'Aaron Fox didn't dribble out that game for he got a lot of grief for not holding on to the ball. Instead, he was saying that he tweeted it to show that in a game situation where you have the clock running down, you have the lead, that you should just dribble it out like Jamal Murray did in that series. So that's the supposed reason. I would guess that was probably why it happened. But when you're a guy like Mark Cuban, you're going to draw a lot of attention. Yeah. Whatever you tweet goes out there, people are going to notice.
Yeah. You can't do much in the cloak and dagger area.
Yeah.
All right. Hit us with the Magic deal.
Yeah. So what it was we were getting Franz Wagner and some filler pieces from Orlando, and it was a 3-team trade between Orlando, us, and the Lakers. And so what happened was the Lakers were going to get Christian Brown and both of our draft picks this year. So the 26th and our 49th, I believe, is the second round pick. And then the Magic get Jamal Murray, and then the Nuggets get Dalton Knecht and Franz Wagner. And there were some more players involved, but most of it was salary filler to make the salaries work. I was vehemently opposed as a Nuggets fan to not only giving up the best player in the deal, but also both of our draft picks this year. I'm like, that is just a real good way to screw up the rest of Jokic's career. So for guys who we have no earthly idea if they can play or not. So
Wagner. I mean, I like the idea of Wagner. I think there's a slight bit of redundancy with his game and Jokic's game. So I do worry about that, but I think he's a talented player that you can build around. They had the problem is, I think in that trade coming back, you don't get a point guard really, except for Knecht can maybe play point guard.
Maybe.
Right.
And you're getting rid of Jamal. And so like, who's going to play point guard? Like you have literally no one coming back that can play point guard in that deal. And so you're already like, even with Jamal, we're already talking about having an issue handling the ball. And now we're talking about getting rid of him and not getting someone in return. Yeah, let me see. I just had it pulled up. It was, I know Gogo Pataze was one, which I actually think is a solid player. Jake Laravia, who is like has potential, but still hasn't found it after 4 or 5 years. He had opportunity last year with all the injuries on the Lakers to do something and didn't really do much.
I think
it's a lot of what ifs, and maybe
Jared Vanderbilt comes back, and I'm like,
yeah, Jared
that's
Vanderbilt.
a nice reunion story, but like again, why do we need that guy?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you're basically. I think Zeke and Najee could do the job that Jared Vanderbilt would do, and probably shoot the ball a little bit better. So,
yeah,
it's interesting, just to see the Nuggets in those trade rumors or in those speculations. But it's hard to find something coming back that is exciting. The other thing is, the speculation of bringing Kawhi back or bringing Kawhi over here, sending out Jamal, kind of having a Jokić, Gordon, Kawhi big three as opposed to Jokić, Gordon, Jamal big three. I think there's part of it that's interesting, but at the same time, it's like, you're just swapping guys to swap guys at that point, it feels like. And you're really gambling that Kawhi can stay healthy. And, there's definitely no guarantee that that's going to happen. If Kawhi is hurt and Aaron Gordon's hurt, then you're back to exactly where you were this year and you have no Jamal to help.
Right.
The one thing I will say about Kawhi is he was really good. So 2 things. He was really good this year.
Yeah.
He was healthy this year. Also, he's got an expiring deal. So again, clear that $50 million out and say, okay, now we actually have some flexibility that we can go do some things. So,
and what I'll say is there is a big free agent in 2 years that if you clear enough space that you could maybe make a run at. And his name is Anthony Edwards.
He
so
likes
just
Minnesota.
putting that out there. He's not super happy. He told the front office that he wants changes to the personnel in Minnesota. We'll see what happens there. There's no guarantee that he's going to re-sign. I'm not saying that the Nuggets would be a front runner or anything, but if you're coming off $50 million, you get Kawhi, you lose about $50 million off the cap, then maybe you can make a run, even on a short-term deal. Might be worth investing in and just kind of hoping this season have some semblance of success. And with Jokić, you should have some semblance of success, but it's intriguing. I think there's some intrigue there. It's painful though to any scenario you see any of those top 3 guys. Well, not Jokić, but you see especially Gordon and Murray getting dealt. There's just it never really feels good coming back. Whoever's coming back never really feels quite good enough. And it's part of the culture that they built when they won the championship, and maybe that's not there today. But I think it's just going to be really painful to watch those guys walk for whoever comes back. Yep.
Agreed. Yeah. Do we have any front runners for so the NBA draft is on Tuesday. So before our podcast, so we'll have a recap of that next week. Do we have any favorites at 26? I know we've got some favorites going up, but do we have any favorites at 26?
Yeah. So it's always hard to know where guys are going to go. I think probably I think what the Nuggets want is going to be a guard, a ball handler. This person that I like is not that, so I'm not sure. But if these best players are available, we'll see. The crazier things have happened for sure. But it is. I don't think it's Kareem and maybe Karim Lopez. He's a player from Mexico. He plays in New Zealand right now. He's a 6'8" small forward. He's 19 years old. Dude is athletic, man. He's really athletic. He can shoot the ball. He's really good, especially in fast break situations. I was just impressed by kind of his overall potential. I've seen him on big boards as early as 13, and I've got the Ringers big board pulled up, and they have him at 27. So I think he's kind of a bit of a polarizing prospect. And I don't know that he's an elite athlete, but I don't think the Nuggets have many great athletes, or really good athletes even. So I think that's part of the appeal is just his athleticism. He definitely needs to get in the weight room, put on a little more weight, but he's 19. It's going to take him time to develop that anyways. Maybe he's more of a slasher and cutter than like Julian Strother. So he would definitely be more of an actual wing for this team. But I think he's more of a project. And when it comes to the draft, you're picking in the late, especially this draft class that some people aren't very high on. Maybe that's the way to go is just a guy that you can stash and develop for a couple of years, even if it's not the immediate returns that you would like to have for a team that's contending.
I think that's an excellent point. I think the draft is top heavy. I mean, you got I want to say 5 or 6 really good players, and there's certainly a top 3, and then a drop, and then I think Caleb Wilson maybe on his tier of his own, and then you have got the guards that are kind of out there. It's interesting. I wonder if I've seen a lot of mocks, and a lot of it is Swaim from Texas, who's a wing, a plus printer defender.
I do like Swaim.
Yep. Again, maybe not a great shooter, but he's been mocked to the Nuggets. Pete, who's another Arizona forward, kind of similar skill set, that plus defender, slashing forward, but can't shoot. Those have been mocked to Denver. I wonder if that sends a signal how in we are on Peyton Watson. If it's Swaim or if it's Pete or if it's one of those guys that is kind of that Peyton Watson clone. I wonder if that's just going to send a signal that we're going to not be in on Peyton Watson as much as we should be.
Yeah, it's hard to know too, because I think that there's a chance that Peyton Watson holds out and tries to get as much money as he can, which he should as a free agent, even restricted. The Walker Kessler just got offered like $125 million today. And he turned it down from the team.
It was 5. It was reported 5 years, $140 million.
Yeah,
he was like, "No, I'm good." I'm like,
yeah, and I think he's going to be a good player for sure. But I think guys are, they're willing to bet on themselves a lot in those situations.
Yep.
Are willing to hold out. I think agents are willing to, especially with the way that the league's set up now. Like, you got to get paid. There's a lot of top heavy. Salary cap, figures for top elite players, and you've got to be able to be in that mix if you want to stick around for a minute. And so I'm worried that the qualifying offer is going to go out and it's just going to be rejected, and then we'll see where they go from there.
Well, I mean, with 2 new teams coming in either next year or the year after, I mean, that's 2 more teams that can pay money. So I'd bet on myself too. So
yeah, for sure. I'm not a big Pete fan. I think he does some nice things. I think he's not really a great athlete. I think the Nuggets are looking either for a ball handler or an athlete. And I don't think he fits that, but there's some guys that are intriguing for sure. We can chat about that more, but let's get into the Broncos before we run out of time. Doc, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about a Bo Nix sighting.
Yeah. It was there was a lot going on out there about how bad was Bo Nix' ankle injury, and the Broncos are snowballing us on purpose, or all of the stuff. Well, I believe he was at back-to-back practices, so he was there yesterday and then today. They will not practice tomorrow. The old you earned it day early, go on vacation before we get back, so there won't be any more team activities. But from all accounts, he was jumping around on Nimble Bimble like. It was good to see. I think just as playing competitive sports, having an opportunity to get out there and play with do teamwork is just so much different than one-on-one or position coach stuff. And so him being able to be out there and just acclimated again. And I think it's, when your leader, that's the face of the franchise at this current moment in time, is out there, I think it gives just that extra level of validity to what this team hopes will be, a championship run, because it's not there without him. Sorry, Jared. Jarrett. Tease. And so for as fine as it is, and everyone kind of gets it, like, hey, it's OTAs, and as long as he's back, but until he's actually back, it's hard to get jazzed about it. And so having him back, he's not wearing an ankle brace, he's doing all the stuff and like messing around out there, like kind of things, which if you're a guy who you're scared as something's going to happen, you're not doing that. Or if I couldn't trust my quarterback to do that, I'm not letting him out there. And then I think the part that was the best thing to see is his interviews after. It was like a quiet confidence. It wasn't like boisterous, it wasn't irritated, but it was just, like, actually, I think I might be more athletic now. Like just stuff like that was just like, guys, I'm good. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not worried. And it feeling genuine and not, hey guys, don't look under the hood, like that kind of thing. And so as a Bronco fan, as I'm currently let down by the previous teams we've talked about, I think it raises the hope level a little bit. Again, I didn't doubt that he wasn't going to play this season or wouldn't be out there, but the validity of him being out there, doing the interviews, kind of looking the part, it brings it all back into frame. So now it's hard for me to now I got to make sure I don't get too hyped up, don't let the train get too far down these back. Now it's like, Super Bowl or bust. Where are we going? Flying tickets, going to Super Bowl. Might as well buy it now. But it was a great sign, and especially for a franchise looking to get in that direction. A couple of really good things that I heard too was Benny Fowler just talked about like how crisp the operation is, like being and it's what happens when you bring like 94% of your team. Sometimes change for change's sake isn't good, and paying like John Elway did, he would pay other people's guys instead of his own guys, and losing continuity means you have to reteach things over and over and over again, and it's really hard to build on success. And so hearing that things were just kind of on point over the past few days or past couple weeks, I think it's a sign of a good outfit. And so whether or not they, how far they go in the season and all that stuff, I think it maximizes the opportunity when you're not wasting it on miscommunication between the coaches, bad practice plan, like stuff that just that doesn't serve the purpose. And you've all been a part of something that like you're really proud of, and then probably we've all been a part of something that was like, we do not have our crap together. Like, I don't like this isn't me though. I work here or I do the same, but it's not like I
don't know what you're talking about. I've been a Cowboys fan for 30 years, and they always do it right.
I didn't want to point it out too much, but it's like, just how far we've came in 3 years, right? It's like, sometimes you don't even know how dysfunctional it was until you get good. And then you're like, oh, Jesus, like what? Nathaniel Hackett, like what were we like? I bet Nate's awesome. I'd hang out with him on a Friday. Like, I bet he's cool. I bet, dude, come on. He'd be a pretzel and beer guy.
He's got the best last name. That's what it is. So
That's fair. But it's just like, now you're here, and you're elbow deep in it. Your coach gets 5-year extension to match the GM. Like, this is our run, right? Like, we get it, and it's expectation. So I think the next step of it is, so last year they were the hunters, it was Kansas City's division, hadn't really beat any of the big guys yet, hadn't won a playoff game since the Super Bowl run, hosted a playoff game, all the stuff. And now I think NFL teams know how good they are. Whether or not they get like the national media, whatever, like that's not who they're going to play. And I think NFL coaches aren't going to listen to what some national pundit says about how good the Broncos are. I think that they'll do their due diligence for sure. You're 14-3, you're not really going to sneak up on anyone anymore. That'll be really interesting to go from the overdogs, as they referred it to being the hunted. And can you win games when you're the favorite or you are and that'll be, I think, the next step for a team, and whether you're a championship or not, it's like you're going to get everyone's best shot, and can you give your best shot back?
Sorry, just to kind of comment on that, I think you're 110% right. I think having an adult in the room and understanding what good is totally changes the culture. It's interesting to me that, like, going from the hunter to the hunted, the Vegas odds are still heavily on the Chiefs and the Chargers to beat the Broncos. And I'm totally lost on why the hell that is. I mean, again, I don't know what else the Broncos can do to prove that they've arrived. They beat Kansas City,
and that's why it's like I don't go on that part, because they have the 14 bet, like they right now we're slated to be the seventh wild card, like the 7th team, right? But I think that NFL teams aren't stupid, right? Like, I think Andy Reid knows that he's lost 3 out of 4 to the Broncos, and 4 out of 5, I think 3 out of 4, because he lost to Russ too, and so, like, I think they know, that they're not like we're not going into Mile High and like walking out with just a dub, and so I think that's there. I think the national media, for whatever way, shape, or form, again, like, I don't know. You have a young quarterback who's playing really well, a good defense. Like, I don't know what else you think you need in football. Like, I feel like that's literally it.
Yeah, I think those odds will change once they start seeing Bo Nix in, like, camp and things. I think that's probably the biggest swing factor, is the fact that we still are just getting news that Bo Nix is healthy and back to 100%. So,
and I think if Jalen Waddle, if they a lot of buzz early about that, I think because the offense isn't a high flying kind of offense, and even Sean Payton's Saints, like, that wasn't, good. Was Drew Brees going to throw the ball deep? Yeah, but it wasn't like the greatest show on turf. Like, it was dink and dunk, and like, we're just going to, we're going to nickel and dime you to death until things happen. And so I just wonder if the underestimation is because it isn't 28-10 every game, right? It's slug it out a little bit. And so this year, I think that you have to, if you're the Broncos, I think you have to be in a space where, when you're playing an inferior team at the NFL level, they can't like one score it with the Raiders again. Like, you gotta, like, 24-10 at least, where it's just like, that was never in doubt. You punch them in the face, you can let up in the third quarter or what have you, but where you're tied at 3 going into the fourth quarter, that's the part that I think Bo Nix can't. I think if Bo Nix plays even like 3 out of 4 good quarters instead of like 1.5, I think that the perception of this team will change, and I think the perception for him will change.
Agreed.
Which is kind of the next phase of it all. But that's the positive lines. I think the concerning line is Jonathon Cooper can't keep his hands out of the honey jar. You get arrested, and then you're like, well, let's go back and do some stuff again. And so I hope for him, like, you get it, whatever it is. Like, either way, it was a toxic relationship, and you behaved in ways that I think if you were to blink, it's 10 years down the road, you're going to look back and be super disappointed in yourself for the opportunity in life that and for the example that you set. But that one's just going to be one where, I heard Sean Payton talk about the expectation that the ownership and the coaching staff has. Like, it was very like Cooper's not here because we have a standard and what he did is unacceptable, without saying like he did anything. It was very strong, which I am glad about. I wonder what that will mean depending on what happens. But good news is I think we'll know where it goes by the time training camp comes, because it's supposed to go to trial on the 22nd of July. And so that part is great, because they did or didn't. I don't, until it's done, I don't want to see you either. Like, go handle your business, man, and go tend to your stuff. That stuff matters more in football. But it opens up the Bond come back home train. which will be on high alert for the next 4 weeks. And whether you're a pro or not, that'll be a storyline. Nonetheless, it just won't die.
It will not. Only other thing I want to touch on is Broncos brought in 2 UFL guys, Hakeem Butler and Sean Fresh, I think, cornerback Sean Fresh. And there's some speculation that this is kind of signaling that what's going on, this contract situation with Marvin Mims, may be at a standstill, may not end up happening. Any thoughts on that? Yep. Apparently Fresh was a good returner in every level that he's been at. Yep. And you're taking a risk on a guy who's been kind of bounced around the league, ended up in the UFL, but has some kind of freaky athletic traits in Butler.
Yeah. So Hakeem Butler, I think was a 4th round pick.
Yep.
But if you've seen him now, though, I feel like he is a much more filled out version of himself. I mean, he's 30. I think he is all of 6'5", all of 220.
He was reported for 240.
230. Yeah, I would say he looked more like 230, 240. And maybe that was more accurate. I think that I do think that these signings are very much one. I think the Broncos do this stuff. You got DeAndre Tillman. They brought in Mario Goodrich for a bit. Like that Mitchell Fabroni, I think, was from one of these leagues, the long snapper. So I think that they're pretty keen on keeping a wide net. But yes, I mean, Marvin Mims just fired his agent and got a new one. So I think that things aren't great there or something would have been done. You don't fire an agent if you're happy with progress. You probably don't bring in a competent kick returner if you feel like you got one. Yeah. And you're not going to add another receiver to a room that is, I mean, it's packed, right? And so, and that's what the NFL is. It is a meritocracy, and you got to be good. And if you're not playing well, we're going to replace you. And even if you're playing well, if we think that we can replace you for less, we will. And
yeah.
And Marvin is a trade piece. So if, I think that the Broncos are doing the smart organizational thing, and I think Marvin is doing smart by trying to keep as much leverage as he can and get a deal. So, I don't think things are great. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out into camp if it gets that far. And without a deal, do you move the asset knowing that you were not going to keep him, or is he so irreplaceable and however you might use him for a Super Bowl run? And I think that'll be something that'll be interesting to play out.
Again, and they just might end up being camp buddies. I mean, it may just be much ado about nothing. So, but again, bringing in the players to, at least raise the floor of your room.
100%.
100% the right move to do.
For sure. Yeah, because I mean, remember, like if this were the Broncos 5 years ago, those guys are making the team. Period. Like, that's like hey, they might be able to get maybe your third receiver. And now it's like, the floor is such a competitive roster now that it's like the best players in this league are going to come here and maybe sniff an opportunity to make the practice squad, which, those are 2 guys, if you keep them on the practice squad, considering all of it, that's also something in play because of how much the practice squad gets used. It's a different roster construction theory than it really was before. Now it's much more like 70 deep, not 53 deep because of the practice squad. So I like it. I think those are smart moves. They're sure to make. They can be leverage, or he's 6'5", 240. Like there's a place for those guys.
I mean, he could be a tight end potentially.
He didn't. I mean, he didn't drop the ball at all this last year.
Okay.
Little Jordan Humphrey, right? Like man dropped the bread basket in the Buffalo game, like just right there. Yeah. Like, hey man, you can block, but maybe if he can too, that's the first one to drop gets cut.
Right, probably true.
But again, it's like Chris said, raising the floor. And when you're a good team, I think that you continue to have competition, and even for position groups that you think are pretty stacked. Yeah, you know what? Show it again. Iron sharpens iron and all the things. So I dig it from just a competitive standpoint. We're not scared to bring anyone in, and you know, and hopefully those guys either put pressure on some other guys to make some diamonds, or maybe you unearth the next All-Pro kick returner.
Yeah. I think, you know, like you said, teams should be looking to get better in all facets, especially in somewhere that they may have some deficiencies. So interesting to see what the Broncos move will continue to yield, if anything. Now
the Cowboys are good. We're good.
Just gonna run it back. Just run it back.
Yeah.
Should be the Nuggets. Run it back. All right. Well, appreciate you today. We are out of time. Eventually, we're going to finish this game that we started last week with you guys, but we talked a lot today, so we didn't get to it, but we'll get to that in the next week or two. But we appreciate you all for tuning in. Thanks for always joining us in chat. But until next week, be kind to one another, be safe out there, and if you need a sports prescription, ask a doctor.
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My high sports symposium, let the good times flow.